Oh, hey, sorry. I guess since I'm playing Mario 64, that must mean it's time to review the Mario movie. Oh man, I'm excited. But just to get this out of the way before we get started, I just have to say, I love the original Mario movie from the 90s. It's barely a Mario movie at all, and it's a complete mess of a production in almost every way. But it has this weird nostalgic vibe for me. Maybe it's because I watched it on TV a lot as a kid when I didn't really know any better and I just loved it. I don't know. That being said, this movie is a hell of a lot better. Hey everybody, it's me, Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions. And today I'm going to give you my review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. And no, this accent isn't racist, I'm Italian. I think that's how that works. Anyways, before we get started, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you never miss any of my new reviews. Now let's go! Wahoo! The Super Mario Brothers movie gives us an origin story for the world-famous platforming plumbers Mario and Luigi, voiced by Chris Pratt and Charlie Day.
The mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day.
While attempting to fix a mainline water break in Brooklyn to, save Brooklyn and prop up their fledgling plumbing business, they end up in a bricked-off area underground with some green pipes. There, they get sucked in and separated. Luigi ends up in the Darklands, captured by Bowser, awesomely voiced by Jack Black, but I'll get to that later, while Mario ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom, meeting Keegan-Michael Key's Toad and Anya Taylor-Joy's Princess Peach, and he agrees to go with them to defeat Bowser, rescue his brother, and save the Mushroom Kingdom. I know, critics are tearing this movie apart, but they're joyless hypocrites that this movie wasn't made for.
Am I so out of touch?
It was a critics-only screening, and I would say out of 40, maybe 2 people were enjoying and laughing at the movie.
No, it's the children who are wrong.
That being said, I'm going to talk about my complaints.
What?
Part of the charm of a lot of the Mario content, especially in the RPG games, is the brotherly love between Mario and Luigi. And unfortunately, once they get to the Mushroom Kingdom in this movie, Luigi takes a backseat and gets sidelined pretty hard. I definitely wanted more Luigi, especially with Charlie Day's great performance.
Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I looked in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia.
They could have honestly kept Mario and Luigi together and just had Luigi be another part of the team, and it wouldn't have changed anything in their fight with Bowser. The film also moves along at such a breakneck pace, and it's only like 82 minutes, that I wish they would have slowed things down a bit just here and there just to allow for a little bit more character development, for the few small character moments that they actually have to breathe a little bit. Especially with a moment between Donkey Kong and Mario that actually looked like it was going somewhere emotional, but it lasted like 20 seconds and then boom, we're on to the next action scene.
I have a very short attention span.
And when it comes to the action, there's more of a focus on the fast-paced fights and the platforming within those fights than there is with Mario actually platforming from destination to destination, which is great, don't get me wrong, but I would have liked to see a little bit more actual platforming like the games, platforming through different lands from point A to point B, since that kind of thing takes up so much Mario gameplay. Having them platform, avoid obstacles, fight enemies, and would have made it even that much greater for me. That one's more of a fan nitpick though, and it's really easy to look past. And my last complaint is a legitimate one that I really have with Illumination, not so much Nintendo and the filmmakers, but there are way too many pop needle drops in this movie. Did we really need to hear No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Holding Out for a Hero, and Mr. Blue Sky in the Mario movie? No, we didn't, especially considering just how fantastic Brian Tyler's score is. There's a part in here where Mario and the crew end up in Donkey Kong's island, and it had the perfect track on the soundtrack that involved a bunch of music from Donkey Kong's games, especially Donkey Kong Country, and they cut it out and replaced it with Take On Me. But putting all those small complaints to the side, and looking at this as a Mario fan since I was old enough to hold a controller, I can say that I really adored this movie. You can feel every bit of love and respect from the games bleeding into every single frame, with every reference, incredibly detailed shot, and impeccably rendered action scenes that feel like they could have been from a Mario game if it got the big budget AAA next-gen treatment.
Hey, that's pretty good.
I know critics are complaining about the paper-thin story. Heh, Paper Mario. But seriously, have you guys ever played a Mario game? I went into this wanting 3 things. Number 1, an accurate Mario world. Number 2, a story that lines up with what we know from the Mushroom Kingdom and these Mario characters. And number 3, so many references to the games that I wouldn't be able to catch all of them. And this movie delivers all of that in spades. As for number 1, we definitely got an accurate Mario world. Gone is the dystopian Blade Runner, really inappropriate style New York that we got in the 90s. Here, though we don't see much of the world outside of the Mushroom Kingdom, the Darklands, and Kong Island, every bit of it looks like it was lifted directly from a 3D Mario game.
The Mushroom Kingdom.
while having little innovations and changes made to make this into a living, breathing world that looks absolutely stunning on the big screen. And the amount of detail put into every single scene is just insane. From characters, to enemies, to different power-ups, platforms, obstacles, Cheep Cheeps, bloopers, all kinds of different enemies and animals that populate the Mario world. I'm definitely gonna have to see this again just to catch all the stuff I missed. And this was the case even before we got into the Mushroom Kingdom. I love the scenes in the beginning with Mario and Luigi in New York where they're running through the streets with perfect platforming precision in a scene that is shot like a side-scroller to just give you that nostalgic feeling. And I especially love the scenes in the beginning when they're actually plumbing or in the sewers and you get to see the beautiful water animation. I seriously think this is the most realistic, beautiful water I've ever seen in a CGI animated movie.
It's beautiful.
So for delivering an almost fully realized cinematic version of the Mario universe that we've come to know and love over the last 40 years, with a surprisingly fun and frenetic Brooklyn in the beginning, the setting, along with the fantastic animation that fills every single scene, really deserves to be applauded. Between this and last year's Minions Rise of Gru, Illumination has really found a great balance to strike between fluid, realistic animation and cartoony design and physics, and it perfectly suits the Mushroom Kingdom. Now for number 2. Though this story may be considered thin by some critics and audience members, it really is right on par with a Mario game. Bowser's on his way to take over or destroy the Mushroom Kingdom, but I'm so glad that's not his only motivation, because there's one thing that they kept from the games that Nintendo basically forced them to keep: Bowser being obsessed with Peach and wanting to marry her.
Love really makes a guy come out of his shell.
Now, I've seen some completely brain-dead takes from people online who apparently have never played a Mario game in their lives, calling this misogynistic and creepy and blah blah la-di-da-di-da. La-di-da-di-da-di-da. But getting Peach in some way has been Bowser's thing for, like, ever. And considering they went out of their way to make sure that Peach is on the force that's directly opposing Bowser, it's amazing that that plot point made it through. Thank you, Shigeru Miyamoto, for standing by your baby and overseeing all aspects of production so that Universal and Illumination did not ruin Mario. And that plot point works for what little development it gets, and it really just makes Bowser that much more of an evil jerk, devilishly played by Jack Black.
Delightfully devilish.
Who easily gives the best voice performance here, besides maybe Kevin Michael Richardson's K-Mech.
We will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
He's clearly having a ton of fun playing this loud, angry man-child in Bowser, and his booming voice really made him intimidating and actually a little scary when he wasn't either being funny or singing a hilarious ballad that I am completely convinced was just Jack Black riffing in the sound booth.
Lame.
As for the rest of the story, I've already mentioned that I enjoyed the part with Mario and Luigi in the beginning in Brooklyn, and I really did. From the opening commercial for the Super Mario Bros. Plumbing service that features the theme song to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show.
We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. When your sink is in trouble, you could call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
Along with that commercial having Chris Pratt and Charlie Day speaking in those stereotypical Italian accents, you know, the "It's me, Mario" type of thing that everyone expected, and I had a big smile on my face within the first couple minutes. And the joke that follows that commercial explaining those accents and why they're not using them through the movie really gave me a lot more appreciation for the voice performances. Anyway, from there I enjoyed the plumbing scenes and a little glimpse into their home life with their big Italian family, which as an Italian man, I just gotta say I love just how gabagool they were, if you know what I mean.
And for you, sir?
I will have the gabagool.
And that insight into his family gives us a little bit of a glimpse into Mario's character and what his arc is going to be through the movie. His family thinks he's a failure, but he'll never give up and will always protect his brother. And I thought this was a really great message and arc from Mario that, funny enough, actually echoes the games perfectly. Not necessarily the story of the games, but playing the games themselves. Because in Mario games, especially the original 2D platformers, all you do as Mario is run, jump, fall and die, or get hit and die, and then you start over again. Mario always gets up to try again. And this movie really did a great job of taking that and making it the spirit of Mario's character. And yeah, he's the butt of a lot of jokes and slapstick comedy throughout the first act and a half of this movie, but this is his origin story, and once that's out of the way, he actually gets a ton of growth, and he's able to earn everyone's admiration and earn his status as a hero and a Super Mario brother. And as for the voice performance, as someone who was defending Chris Pratt and just telling everybody to wait for the movie, I thought he did a really great job. And I really think that someone in the marketing department needs to be fired, because it seems like they picked his worst line deliveries for the trailers, especially "Mushroom Kingdom, here we come."
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Yeah, here he did a good job mixing in a lower Brooklyn accent that's kind of reminiscent of what Lou Albano did in the early 90s, with higher pitched parts of the voice every now and then that's reminiscent of Mario's original actor, Charles Martinet.
It's-a me, Mario. Woohoo!
while standing out on its own. I definitely think that Chris Pratt's voice was a solid transition to making Mario cinematic. Charlie Day's Luigi was great too, although I don't think anybody had any worries about that.
You just got Luigi.
He injects Day's frantic, frenetic energy into Luigi, while really playing up that anxious and emotional angle of Luigi, and especially the emotion when it comes to his brotherhood with Mario, and the chemistry and the bond that holds them together. Even though Luigi's pretty much absent from this movie outside of the beginning and the end. Though his scene when he first gets separated from Mario and ends up in the Darklands, chased by a bunch of Shy Guys and dry bones, was really great and actually a little spooky, and it left me wanting nothing less than a Luigi's Mansion movie like yesterday. Especially because I heard a little bit of that dun 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 in the score for like a second. I also thought Anya Taylor-Joy did a great job as Princess Peach.
Bowser is coming. Together, we are going to stop that monster.
Though she definitely sounded closer to her normal voice than Mario and Luigi did. But she plays Peach with the royal assuredness that she should always have. And though they borrow a bit of Daisy's traits with characterizing Peach in this movie, Mario still gets her lighter side out.
Are you flirting with me?
And she is Princess Peach through and through, especially the more modern one that we've had recently. She's also a total badass, but never to the point where she's an insufferable modern girl boss, and she never steals the spotlight from anyone else. Instead, she's either a great leader or a great member of the team whenever she needs to be either. And the amount of generosity and heart that she shows to Mario and to the Toads is honestly heartwarming, and Anya Taylor-Joy does a great job getting that across with her voice performance. I also surprisingly thought Seth Rogen did a good job as Donkey Kong, and his voice actually fits that character. He shows up that showboaty, kind of man-childish personality that I think they were going for.
You got the cat box! Oh my... I'm sorry. Okay.
And the slow but sure development of rivalry to friendship that him and Mario have is really fun to see. I also love Keegan-Michael Key's Toad. He definitely has one of the best celebrity voice performances here besides Jack Black. He was pretty much unrecognizable and he really tried. And he plays the role of adorable sidekick while still being hilarious and actually contributing a bit during the action scene. And his line of, "I fear nothing," absolutely killed me.
I fear nothing.
The last voice performance I want to praise here is Kevin Michael Richardson, who definitely has one of the best performances in the movie, but he is a voice actor, so it's not that big of a surprise. But compared to his usually deep, booming voice that we've heard from characters like Gantu from Lilo and Stitch, he's completely unrecognizable here, and his voice performance definitely stuck out amongst all the celebrity voice actors.
Behold, the king of the Koopas!
The worst voice in my opinion was Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. He played him a little too jokey, not really that cranky, and definitely not sounding old enough, and a lot of lines that he gets are either just expositional or completely state the obvious. I think maybe Alan Arkin would have been a better choice for him. But even with that, each of these characters is completely true to their original selves from the games, and these voices just help them come alive. And I especially want that to be known about Chris Pratt, who I think has received a ton of unnecessary hate. In general, but especially for this movie.
It's me, a Mario.
Speaking of that, one of the few times in this movie that Mario says, "It's a me," made me laugh so fucking hard. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Lastly, for number 3, I wanted this film to be packed to the brim with Mario Easter eggs and references, and holy crap did I get my wish. Just off the top of my head, here's all the references I can catch. Mild spoiler warning here, they don't really spoil the story, but if you want to be surprised and want to be excited to look out for all those Easter eggs and stuff, you might want to skip ahead to this timestamp here. Okay, there's your warning, let's get into it. Number 1, Charles Martinet's voice twice, once as a familiar sounding Brooklynite and once as Mario and Luigi's dad but in a different voice. Number 2, Punch-Out Pizzeria. Number 3, someone's playing a Jumpman video game, a renamed version of Donkey Kong where Mario comes from. Number 4, Mario plays an NES with Kid Icarus. Number 5, there's an R-Wing from Star Fox hanging above his bed. Number 6, there are so many musical references woven into the score. From New Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, Super Mario World, the underwater theme, the underground theme, the Luigi's Mansion theme, the Bowser's Castle theme, Toad's House, Mario 64, especially Bob-omb Battlefield, Galaxy, Odyssey, Bowser's Fury theme, Captain Toad, Mario Kart 8, Mario 3D World, I could go on. There's a Duck Hunt duck on a sign in the film. When Donkey Kong gets introduced, they use the DK rap. Not great that they didn't credit Grant Kirkhope in the credits, but of course, like I mentioned before, they used the theme song from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. Luigi's ringtone is the GameCube startup sound.
Super Mario Brothers!
Pauline from the original Donkey Kong game and Super Mario Odyssey is a news reporter in the beginning. That one scene in the trailer that's in the movie as well shows a bunch of Yoshis running. Walking through the Mushroom Kingdom, you can hear a Toad telling another one to blow into something to make it work, just like you would do with an NES cartridge, which you actually shouldn't do because it damages the pins.
Does this thing work?
Yes, well, great. You just have to
flow into it.
When Donkey Kong and Mario fight, there's the barrels and the scaffolding from Donkey Kong. When everybody goes to build their carts, they use like a roulette style thing, just like Mario Kart 8, and you can hear the item sound when they're scrolling through to pick things. And a few others that are actually straight up spoilers. And trust me, I missed a ton of stuff that I'm gonna go see the movie again for. I just briefly mentioned the score too, but I think I'm gonna end off with that. I loved this score, and I've been listening to it on repeat since I saw the movie. Brian Tyler, along with the original composer of Super Mario Bros., Koji Kondo, crafted a fun and energetic musical score that complements this crazy, fast-paced movie and its incredible action sequences, the Mario Kart sequence being my favorite, while interweaving so many musical bars and selection from every single era of Mario, and it just made it that much more exciting and iconic. And that's my review of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Though it has way too many pop songs, a lack of Luigi in the middle, a fast pace that is a little too fast here and there, and a bit of a rush through the fun platforming sections that we know from Mario, this is still an incredibly crafted love letter to the games and to the fans, with a great voice cast, truly jaw-dropping animation that I think is Illumination's best, a fun and simple story that is true to the original games, an iconic score, and a metric crap ton of references and Easter eggs to everything Mario and the last 40 years of Nintendo. I absolutely love this movie as a lifelong Mario fan, and I can't wait to see it again. Make sure to stay all the way through the credits. Thanks for watching, everybody. I've been Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions, and if you like this review, then do the Mario!
Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario.
If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you never miss any of my new content. You can also find the links to my social media in the description, and click right here to check out my review of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, or just go to my channel where you can check out my reviews, my shorts, and my old shit. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you on the next one.